So in Pike County, Ohio, there's this police officer. He's on one police force and he's on another one. He's supposed to testify in a grand jury for the first murder. He killed 2 people. And he's supposed to, supposedly by the news reports, March 28th of this month, he was supposed to testify in the grand jury. While he was on administrative leave, having a paid vacation, on top of that, while he was sitting at home, not doing a damn thing, he started drinking with a guy named Jason Brady. Robert Rooker was the first person that was killed, and he wrecked his car after a chase. He was speeding 7 miles over the speed limit, and then when he had wrecked his car, then Joel Jenkins shot and killed him. And he said that with Jason Brady that it was an accidental discharge, as in, oops, I didn't. Why does he still have a gun? He shot him. So he killed Robert Rooker as a police officer after a police chase, and the details of the shooting is really hazy. We don't have any footage. We don't have, we don't know what happened. But it seems like to me if he's trying to get away, then he's not coming out shooting. He just had a car accident. But, that's, I think he killed him. Personally, I think he shot him. He was mad because if you remember that one police chase where they were chasing the guy and then the guy flips his car over, he flies out of the car and he's unconscious. And while this man is unconscious, you got about 5 or 6 cops just beating his unconscious body, nonstop. And so, they get pissed off. The police is like, how dare you make me chase you? How dare you? Well, 7 miles over the police, go over the speed limit. So what? That's a crime that deserves death? I don't know. Running from the police? Okay. So now let's fast forward to the shooting of Jason Brady. So he's sitting at home on administrative leave. He's got a paid vacation, right? You shot Robert Rooker, so here's some of the taxpayer money so you can sit around and, I guess, practice your lying for when he goes to testify in the grand jury this month. And while he was waiting, he's drinking with Jason Brady. Jason Brady is a neighbor, and he was known to be a friend to everybody that he met. He he used to feed and water Joel's dog. So he took care of Joel's dog, Joel Jenkins' dog, and he also mowed people's lawns for free, just out of the goodness of his heart. So this Jason Brady is a good man. He's a good-ass man. A person that contributes to society, that helps others, that wants to be good to other people. This is the man that should have been a police officer, not a Joel Jenkins. Richard Henderson used to be the sheriff of Pike County, Ohio, but he resigned in May 2015, and now you got Charles Reeder. Charles Reeder is the sheriff of Pike County, Ohio. And so, this is really simple. This is really an easy thing. Another thing, too, Joel Jenkins' baby mother is on the Waverly Police Department, so the city of Waverly, and she was the first one to show up on the scene after Jason Brady was shot. Now he calls in, he says, accidental discharge. Accidental discharge? Give me a fucking break, okay? So you're going to sit there and tell me, Charles Reeder, let's say, hypothetically, Charles Reeder's loved one is at someone's house, and now they're dead. Their brains are blown out of their, out of their skull, and they're dead. But the person that shot him said, oh, it was an accident. I mean, that's all you got to do is put the shoe on the other foot. So, Charles Reeder, one of his loved ones, is at, somebody's house, and they were drinking, and all of a sudden they're dead. And he says that it was an accidental discharge. Okay, I call bullshit on that. And then they're drunk. They're drunk. So, I think that's the biggest point to the story is that they're drunk. So, they're having a good time, maybe did some stupid things. I saw this one, video or this one story where they were shooting beer cans off of each other's heads and shit. And then he went to the hospital, right? And so when you're drunk and you mix firearms with alcohol, and so if Charles Reeder's loved one had got shot and they're sitting there saying it was an accident, accidentally slipped, fuck off. An accidental discharge, why are you playing with the gun? Why are you pointing the gun at someone's head? Why did you pull the trigger? There's, a lot of questions there. But you're going to tell me that Charles Reeder is... So if you put the shoe on the other foot, and it's one of Charles Reeder's loved one, and I hope nothing happens to anything, anybody related to Charles Reeder. My point is, put yourself in the position of Jason Brady's family. If you found out that one of your loved ones had been accidentally shot and the guy had been drinking and he had also murdered somebody beforehand, or he had killed them, possibly murder, then, that's a lot of red flags. I think that it would be bullshit, and I think they would go through the criminal justice system just like anybody else. And that's the important point. Let's take the hypothetical down a bit. Let's say Charles Reader's one of his loved ones gets assaulted. Say someone punches him. Well, what's going to happen to that person? Assault isn't a murder. But if there's an assault, then charges, there's an arrest, a detainment, charges are filed, and then you go through the criminal justice process. That's what should happen to Joel Jenkins. In terms of fairness, what is good for the goose is good for the gander. So if a regular person had assaulted somebody else, not a police officer, they would get charged and have to go through the motions of the criminal justice system. Well, if we're being fair, that's the exact same thing that should happen with Joel Jenkins. Well, you don't want to plead sovereign immunity or, try to do some legal tactics and loopholes and dumb bullshit. No. If I'm a police officer, if I'm the sheriff, and one of my goons are going around terrorizing people, murdering people, shooting people, that reflects poorly on me. I would immediately fire them, but I would also file charges against them because they committed a crime. And if we can't even agree that murder, the worst crime out there, Jason Brady, everything he is and everything he ever will be is gone. And it was because of Joel Jenkins. If we can't agree that murder is wrong, we have no hope. Two more points I want to make. The Sheriff Charles Reader had explained that Jenkins was showing off a gun and it fired. So look, hey everybody, here's my gun. It's real nice and oh my God, oops. Come on. And then they charged him with involuntary manslaughter. Involuntary manslaughter, which is, less. There's no premeditation. It's not first-degree murder. It's not second-degree murder. It's not third-degree murder. It's not murder at all. It's involuntary manslaughter. So, again, with my hypothetical, it's only to put the shoe on the other foot. And so if you're in the position of Jason Brady's family, how would you feel? Is it's involuntary manslaughter? Oops. No, he was drunk. And if you're a prosecutor, you try to aim for the highest. This report comes from Topics, and it's an anonymous user. So, for what it's worth, right? So, but this person is sitting there mentioning that Sheriff Henderson had taken Jenkins off the road and he was on restricted duty. But after Charles Reader had got into it, not only did he get his job, but he also got a promotion while he was under investigation. And then this Topics user mentions that the gun that Jason Brady was murdered with was actually loaned to Joel Jenkins by the prosecuting attorney. I guess a guy named Junk. And so he's making the case that they're all kind of involved in this. Seriously, if I'm the sheriff, I'm distancing myself from all of this. If you loaned him the gun, you didn't actually pull the trigger. So, I didn't know he was going to shoot his neighbor. You could still, have plausible deniability. But what the fuck?